Hey everyone, my name is Rachael from Life a Little Greener, and today we're going to talk about the number one biggest mistake I see with people in gardening. We're going to talk about picking the right soil. So if you're not making your own compost at home and we have to outsource it, we're going to look at things that you need to look for to make sure that we're getting a really good quality soil. We're going to look at smell, what it looks like, its aggregation, so how it holds together, where we're getting it from as well, whether or not it contains synthetic. So that's something to be really mindful of when we are buying bagged compost. I've learned everything I know. I'm a nerd. I do like to read, but I've also done nutrition farming and also working on horticulture, permaculture, organic growing, landscape design. So taking everything into consideration when we're working on your property. So I've done things from full self-sufficient setups back down to tiny little veggie gardens. My focus and passion is on helping people grow organic, nutrient-dense food, but also giving back to the environment too. So when we're creating regenerative gardens, number one, we'd like to be making our own compost. And so what would we wanting to look for is a finished compost product. So we can go and have a look at the compost that we've got in the garden and have a look at what a finished compost might look like. So let's go and have a quick look. So this is my finished compost that we've got here in the space. And so if we take a look, there are a fair amount of worms in here. However, if I pull this out, we can see that it's a really nice dark chocolate brown, which is what we're looking for. There's no food scraps in there, and it's still a bit woody because I did add wood shavings from my chickens. And so you can see there it's still a bit chunky, which is fine. And you can screen that if you wanted it to be a bit finer. However, I'd add that directly to my veggie garden. So this is a really great way to tell whether or not your compost is great and ready to go on the garden beds. It looks good. It's got a nice moisture content. You can see there that it's holding together really nice and well. Smells really nice and earthy, and it's a really nice dark chocolate brown. How to know when to leave your compost and let it break down? It just depends on whether or not you're hot composting or cold composting. Most people won't have the biomass to hot compost, so we'll probably be doing it in a nice slow composting manner, which is how I do it. And generally when the compost bin is full and I can't fit any more in is when I'll leave it and let it settle down, but I'll always come back to it. So making sure that the carbon and the nitrogen is at that right level, and continually stirring it so then it can break down nice and slowly. If you find that it's slowed down, you can add some things like comfrey, which is a compost activator. You might like to add some microbes like SoiLife, and that will help just kind of kickstart that decomposition process. And then that'll help compost it down. Yeah, so this is in regards to making your own compost at home. And so now we're going to touch on if you're not making compost at home yet, and you need to purchase some from an external source. Let's go chat about the things that we want to look for. All right, so now I'm starting two quite long, large veggie gardens, and so unfortunately I just don't make enough compost to do that. And so I went and bought some in. So this is purchased from my local landscape supply. It's a really beautiful product. It smells amazing. That's one thing to look for, is it smells delicious. Like it smells earthy, it makes me feel good. It's a really nice dark chocolate brown too. Colour is a really great indicator of soil health. If it's nice and dark, it's got a great amount of organic matter in it, right? It's got great aggregation, so when you squeeze it together, right, it stays together. We don't want it pulling apart. Now, I highly recommend that if you are going to buy compost, going and having a look at it. Physically going to the landscape yard, talking to the business owners and having a chat with them about how the compost has been made, where they're getting it from. Some local suppliers might even make their own. And so going in there means you're building a relationship with them, you're supporting a small business, and you're buying a really good quality product with less packaging. All of these things are really great for the environment and supporting the community and building a regenerative community. So when buying compost in bulk and having that conversation with the business owner, there's some questions that you can ask. Where's the compost sourced from? What manures are used in the compost? How the compost is made? You can also ask the pH as well, which can have an impact on the soil. And it's really important to ask the testing requirements for the compost and where they're getting it from, because some sources can have small amounts of microplastics through the compost, but also can have residual glyphosate. And so that residual glyphosate can end up in our veggies and can have an impact on us and our gut health. And so because my kids play in the garden and we eat fruit and veggie fresh off the plants from the garden, I don't want my kids being exposed to residual glyphosate because we are a chemical-free home. Having really healthy soil means we can grow really healthy fruit and veggies, which means our family, our kids and ourselves can be healthier. So now you know the things to look out for when making your own compost and buying your own compost. Now you can get started on either building a veggie garden or starting a veggie garden from scratch. Thank you for watching the video. If you found any tips that were really striking, please leave a comment below. If you've got any tips yourself, then let us know below.